Yes, get some little B-roll here. See if
Cool.
I don't know. See if just like stuff like that. Maybe a little bit of I don't know, bonus material or something. I don't know. I could go like this,
Bleh.
and just like going weird.
There you go.
Wait,
The,
I'm too that close to the camera. I can't literally. I'm literally my mouth is literally going below the sight line. I can't get my mouth like where. Yeah, there we go.
do they?
Just got an up close look at just greatness right there. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. As always, I'm Robbie. Kyle is here as well. Kyle, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing. Just doing. That's the best I could put it.
Yeah, it's been a time. I don't know how much you really want to go into it, but yeah, it's been a time.
Well, I'll just leave it. I'll just leave it here for now. So,
Okay.
those of you who know, you know, but those of you who don't know, then well, you're gonna figure it out. So,
Yeah, there you go. But getting to more positive things, it is a new episode, and we are continuing on our sort of themes here of going through the history of various sports throughout time. And tonight we have a couple of very interesting ones. I've chosen soccer as mine. Soccer definitely a worldwide very popular sport, or football as it's called in other countries. Gotta make sure you specify that it is called football mainly everywhere else. Hey Kyle, what sport have you chosen tonight?
I just randomly chose fencing. I don't know why. I just like literally was like, okay, what's the most random sport? Fencing. Here we go.
There you go. There you go. Nothing more. Nothing. Very few sports more random than that, for sure. But
I just really want to get to the point of mine. All right, I'll stop
I'm
there.
just gonna stare in just like a disgust look just for a few seconds here. Let the point. Anyway, yeah. So let's get right into it, Kyle. And why don't you go first with what you learned about the wonderful sporting enigma that is fencing?
Yeah. So fencing had a very interesting history. So it actually dated back roughly at about 1190 BC. Um, apparently at a temple near Luxor. Um, and I guess in the 16th and 18th century that like duels were more common, but that was it wasn't technically a sport though. This was like people actually like fighting to the
Yeah,
death. Or
this was not
um
sport. This was real life.
yeah, it was usually either like real life, like real life, or I mean it was also like I think for also like training, like military training too, but like
Right.
it wasn't really looked at as like a sport, like a full blown sport. So it didn't actually kind of it didn't happen until like about the 14th or 15th century. Italy and Germany, I guess, had a. They said it around 1478 was the Marx Bruder of Frankfurt. That was one of the first guilds actually that was formed. That actually was that had like a very early form of like fencing, and this was taken as like a military training, like we were talking about. And it didn't really become popular. Well, or it didn't really become like a true sport until about the 17th or 18th century. Now, hold on, I'm just like reading. Sorry, I read something a little confusing because they said the 16th, 18th century duels were. Oh, I think this is BC. Hold on. Okay, sorry, I'm getting my time periods mixed up. I just want to make sure because I think when I was reading, I'm on the Olympic site and they said the 16th, 18th century duels were common, but I was like, wait, but didn't you say the 14th or 15th century in Germany? So it's like, okay, sorry, I have to get my 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 time.
BC, AD, JC. I don't know. It's all mumbled in the historical timeline there.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what? We'll just start. Yeah, right at around. Okay, so yeah, 1190 was like the early form of it. That was apparently near like a temple, and the birth of sport. Yeah, it was in the 14th, 15th century. In like Italy and Germany. And so I guess like the rules didn't really form until about the 17th or 18th century 80, just to make it very clear. And it was actually the first time during those 2 centuries that they actually had they put the flattened tip on the weapon. It wasn't really meant to be like a, oh, we're killing. It's definitely more of like a training, just like for sport. We're not here to kill people. It's just like it's a practice like your sword moves essentially. Um, and that was also.
Uh-oh, we have lost Kyle's audio. Interesting. Uh, Kyle is frozen. What is happening? Oh, he's back, and we can hear him now. There you go. You're back.
You guys hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay,
Continue
good.
on. Yeah,
What was
momentary,
it?
momentary blooper within a show.
Cool.
Sorry, the perils of technology, folks.
Yeah, classic.
All right.
But
Anyway, continue on.
oh yeah, so I was saying the 17th, 18th century was when in fencing when they actually use like the flattened tip for the sword and like the mask. It's like they call it it's like a special word. It's like they call it the wire mesh mask because obviously you don't want to be poked in the face with a fencing sword, even with like
No.
a flat tip because that's gonna hurt. So
Yeah.
um yeah, so that's when they and then eventually they actually end up adding it to the Olympics. This was back in about 1896, the games in Athens. So it's funny because it's not that like that long ago. It's like, I mean, it is long ago, but like when in terms of the Olympics, it's not that long ago.
Right.
It's still more recent when you compare it to like ancient Greece and everything. But that's when they included it, it was the very first year. And then actually, women got to join fencing too back in Paris in during 1924. So that was another one where I guess it took a little while for women to join that sport as well, just like in in other sports in the past. So I guess let's see. Yeah, so that was kind of like the early yeah, just a few facts about fencing that I kind of found. I just stumbled upon online. It was like on the Olympic site. So if you guys have any other questions about it, most of it's just like how it didn't really, it wasn't a sport that really changed a lot either because it's a lot about like the sword kind of like there's not a whole lot you could really change to it. So yeah, that's just some of the stuff I found. So
Cool. Cool. Well, I know more about fencing than I did 15 minutes ago. So
yay.
thank you for that, buddy. Really appreciate it. That insight. So as I was saying, I researched the history of soccer or football. And what I found is that there's actually no, it's interesting, there's no like classical history of soccer per se. The earliest evidence of like related or like related games, like related like football games, foot sport games, actually dated back all the way to the Han Dynasty in China and the
Ooh.
Chinese game Cuju, um, which some people believe is sort of why soccer is loosely based on. And the in terms of soccer itself, or again football, the modern rules were actually established back in the mid 19th century in England, and they were called the Cambridge Rules because they were established at Cambridge University in England. Um, and yeah, so the first professional league was the Football Association, which began back in 1863. And the world's oldest football slash soccer competition is the FA Cup, Football Association Cup in England, which has been still held to this day, actually, and began back in 1872. And then, obviously, we're talking about sort of women's place in sports. Women's soccer also dates back to the Han Dynasty of China. And the first recorded football match on the women's side took place in Scotland, in Glasgow, in 1892. And then in England, the first match there was in 1895. So just a few quick tidbits about soccer, aka football. And, just obviously the game has really morphed and expanded over the years, and obviously is very popular worldwide, particularly in a lot of other countries out there. And just some good old-fashioned football facts, just not that type of football that you're thinking of. The one that the rest of the world considers to be real football, so to speak. So like I said, that's soccer for you. So some good stuff on both sports tonight. If you have any other sort of historical facts on either sport that you want to share, folks, you can definitely drop us a comment on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Get a really good close look at Kyle's face there. Really up close and personal there, folks. It's like yeah. We're losing it tonight. But so we want to now transition before we get too far off the rails. We want to transition into the sort of end portion of our episode, which we all know and love, and we will begin tonight with the Sue's reviews. I don't know why I just said it like that, but Kyle, what artsy masterpiece do you have to review? I don't know where I was going with that intro, but what do you have to review for us here tonight?
Well, I do have that Pikachu painting I could talk about. That's like
okay. That's not the type of art that I was talking about, but that's lovely art. Again, I know I completely botched the intro, so everybody just feel free to tell me, hey, where'd that tomato come from?
So one of the games I wanted to talk about a video game that I've actually really grown to love. I've had an interesting journey with this because I played the demo a long time ago, and I honestly didn't like it. I thought it was a terrible game at first, and then I played more of it, and it's become one of my favorite games in like the past, like maybe even 5 years. I'm not gonna lie. So I wanted to talk about this game called Cadence of Hyrule.
Okay.
It's it's a Zelda rhythm game. So essentially, if you know Zelda and you've played games like the classic Zeldas, like A Link to the Past or Link's Awakening, it's from a top-down perspective. So immediately you'll be right at home. But there's a twist with this one. So basically, the entire world has been taken over by this like evil musician villain, and basically every time you go in an area with enemies in the game, you have to follow along with a rhythm, and you have to attack enemies to the rhythm of the game. And to me, that was at first it was very daunting. It has a bit of a learning curve, and you will die a lot in this game, especially at the very beginning, I think. But once you get the hang of it, once you kind of like really get into that whole rhythm, it's really great. It's actually one of the best experiences I've ever had in a video game. if you like Zelda, you're gonna really like this game, especially if you like A Link to the Past and like the older type of Zelda games. It has the exploration. It has you can unlock all the items like in the Zelda games. But it's cool because every time you go into an area and you fight the enemies, you fight them to like a remixed version of one of the famous songs from Zelda, like the Gerudo Valley theme and the Hyrule Field theme and all that stuff, and they're all remixed. So it's very cool. It's kind of like if like Zelda and Guitar Hero had a baby in a weird way. So yeah.
What an image! What an image that is. So now this brings us to the Robbie's not favorite football recap, but the Robbie's NFL playoff football recap. And this weekend was a big weekend in the NFL as it was the conference championship games. That's right, the AFC and the NFC elite meeting to go for the right to go to the Super Bowl. And what two exciting games it was, as on the AFC side, the Kansas City Chiefs, who, by the way, were hosting their third straight AFC championship game. They defeated the Buffalo Bills to advance to the Super Bowl for the second year in a row. That's right, the Chiefs are heading to Tampa with a chance to repeat as Super Bowl champions. Who are they going to be facing, you might ask? Well, let me sort of break it down for you a little bit like this. On the NFC side, there is a certain team based in a certain city in Florida that also just so happens to be hosting this year's Super Bowl. Now, if you're listening to me about 5 seconds ago, you'll know that that great city is Tampa Bay, Florida. Now, Tampa Bay has an NFL team. The name of that NFL team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has a quarterback. And that quarterback just so happens to be the greatest quarterback of all time, Mr. Tom Brady, who, yes, left the Patriots to play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. Now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played a game this past Sunday. That's right. They played in the NFC Championship game in Green Bay, Wisconsin, against the top-seeded Green Bay Packers. And you know what? The Tampa Bay Bucks won, folks. That's right. They defeated the Green Bay Packers, and that means, you guessed it, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are headed to Super Bowl 55 to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Buccaneers will be playing Super Bowl 55 in their home stadium a week from this coming Sunday. It is going to be magnificent. It is going to be epic. It is going to be the first time in NFL and Super Bowl history that a team gets to play the Super Bowl in its home stadium. It is going to be the first time in Super Bowl history that the last two Super Bowl winning quarterbacks will meet in a Super Bowl. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes won Super Bowl 54. Tom Brady won Super Bowl 53 while still here in New England. So, yeah, folks, the Super Bowl is set. It's Kansas City versus Tampa, and it is going to be a very, very awesome Super Bowl 55 coming up a week from this coming Sunday. And by the way, speaking of the Super Bowl, tune in next week because me and Kyle, on this very show, from these very rooms that we are currently in, will be previewing Super Bowl 55. That's right, folks. Our Super Bowl preview special will be coming up for you next week. We cannot wait to dive into the insanity, the epicness that is the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm fired up already. The games were just 2 days ago, Kyle. I'm already fired up. I'm already rearing to go. I'm about to punch a wall. Although that probably hurt. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm excited to just see the whole thing play out, and I'm curious. And isn't the Weeknd going to play during the halftime show? Is that what I heard correct?
Yeah, you are absolutely correct on that. The Weeknd will be the Super Bowl halftime show during the weekend.
I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're going to be doing a Super Bowl preview show next week, and then the week after we will do a Super Bowl review show.
Yeah,
where
part
we'll
1 and 2,
break
if you
down the
will.
game. Yeah, exactly. Part 1 and 2. We got 2 episodes planned out. Boom. Goes to
Boom.
dynamite. By the way, before we go, there is one last thing I wanted to add. I would be remiss if I did not mention that on this day, 1 year ago, the sporting world suffered a tragic loss with the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant in a helicopter crash in California. Of course, his daughter was also on the helicopter along with several others. And obviously, our continued thoughts and our prayers are with their families. Even today, it is crazy to think that it's been a year ago. It was a year ago that that tragic event took place. You just think back to all that Kobe did in his professional career, coming right out of high school, just excelling with the Lakers over his 16-year NBA career. He was a legend. He was a top 10, arguably top 5 player all time in NBA history. And even a year later, it still doesn't feel necessarily real that he is no longer with us. Just everything that he had left to accomplish, even in retirement. It was a tragic day for the sports world, and I just, like I said, I wanted to, just really mention it briefly that like I said, our thoughts and our prayers are, especially on this day with the Bryant family and all the other families that lost loved ones on that fateful day. So.
Yeah, that was really sad. You're right. I'm the same boat. I still can't believe that happened. And especially it happened like a year ago now. And I just remember hearing. I heard like bits and pieces of the news. I'm like, wait, what? And it was just so. It was wow. It was. Yeah. No, I felt the same way. It was really sad. So.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Kobe. You're still forever missed. So, on that note, that is going to do it for this week's edition of On a Couch Talking Sports in Bedrooms. As always, thank you everybody for tuning in. And make sure to subscribe and like on YouTube. I never said that before, but I just wanted to drop that in there. Drop us a like, drop us a subscription. We always appreciate. But until next time, that's Kyle. I'm Robbie. And we will see you next time here on a Couch Talking Sports. Bye, everybody. All right, bud. You ready to get the show on the road?
Let's do it.
I don't even know. The funny thing is, I don't even remember what sport you said you were gonna do.
Oh, I picked the most random sport ever.
Fencing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Nothing wrong with that.
I was like literally texting you, and I'm like, "What sport should I do?" I was like, "Okay, what's the most random sport I can talk about?" I'm like, "Oh, fencing." Here we go.